Hi guys, it's time for commodity market update. Gold and silver, that's what we are going to discuss today. We are going to make top-down analysis, discussing the most important levels when it comes to the bulls and bears. So, without the further ado, let's jump straight into the video. Piotr here, welcome back to my channel. Gold and silver are gonna be hot topics today, and we are going to make top-down market analysis, starting with the monthly, going through the weekly and daily charts. Let's have a look what we have when it comes to the gold. As you can see, we are going to start with the monthly chart over here. So now, double top and strong rejection, that's what we've seen. After the failure at the bottom, Riley hitting the stops and making new high with the rejection. So the May ended up on the negative territory after hitting the stops and here the new high. So what we have from the monthly chart perspective, talking about the levels, when it comes to the sellers, I strongly believe on the monthly chart it's 2050 and of course the high 2081. Why I think that's the case? Because maybe the sellers are going to look for swing high creation based on the monthly chart. On the other hand, when it comes to the buyers, we are talking about the possible swing low formation, so we shouldn't go lower than what we already seen based on the monthly chart. In that case, we are talking about the levels very close to 1950. The next buyers are around 50% of that pullback. Okay, and in that case, I strongly believe that might be something around the level close to 1880. And finally, the tweezer bottom we've seen in February and March, if I'm not mistaken. In that case, we are talking about the levels close to, just one second, 1800. So it's not a big range as of now. I think we might get the direction around the FOMC this month. If not, then I truly believe that we are going to have some kind of the summer lullaby and then starts again when it comes to the September and October. All right, let's switch lower. Let's have a look what we have on the weekly chart. Okay, so that's the weekly chart of the gold, and as you can see, there are not many additional levels to what we already have based on the monthly chart, all right? So the range in between 2080, 1800, and again, if we are going to go lower, right, the 50% of this move back it might be in play. But what if we are going to go through the 1800 level? Then another 50% of another move to the downside could be in play. Let's have a look what we have in that case, and in that case it could be something around 1700. What about eventually the move to the upside, right? Let's place another line here on the mid of that level, right? 1700-ish. Okay, there you go. And what about the upside eventually, right? If we are going to start to move with the equal, all right, waves, that's what we have. 1, 2, this wave was almost equal if we are not going to take into the consideration the shadows, right? So the next one was exactly the wave we are talking about. And I think that 1880 is something we are going to retest, and the move from here could bring us towards 2150, 2200. That would be another wave, and then eventually three wave of the possible pullback. So that's how I see the gold when it comes to the weekly chart. We added just one level to the downside around 1,720, 1,700 psychological level as another level of the possible support, and we discussed the targets to the upside around 2,150, 2,200. Let's have a look what we have when it comes to the daily chart. Okay, so that's the daily chart, and very interesting. Why? Because we've seen the attempt to go higher, we took stops, and we've seen the strong rejection. So in that case, we went lower and we retest the breakout levels low, right? And we were trying to go lower, but we moved back. So when it comes to the short-term possible price action, what I see here is either around 50% of that move, in that case somewhere around 2000 psychological level as a possible supply level, all right, or creation of the swing high on a higher time frame we discussed from the monthly chart perspective, and retest of somewhere around 2050, and then move back and retest the bottom around 1950. So that's how the sellers may behave. If you are a buyer, then you want to see the retest of the level of 1950 and moving higher towards 2050. But if we are going to make equal waves to the downside, then you are looking for 1880, all right, maybe even 1800 as a possible buying levels, and targeting something towards 1950 and 2050. With that being said, let's switch to the silver. Okay, so that's the monthly chart of the silver, and from the long-term perspective, looks like we are trading the range currently in between 14.15 to the downside, and to the upside something in between 30.31 over here. All right, this strong move mostly because of the money printing, right, hit the high after the failure at the bottom, right? So I think that we still have some stops to be taken to the upside in case of the reversal and retest the low. So what we might have from the monthly chart perspective is we have a sellers somewhere around current level based on this swing high, especially that we hit and make a tweezer top. So I strongly believe we might go lower from here, all right? And this consolidation with the failure to the downside and run up been already tested once. So I think this 50% of that consolidation is very weak support level, right? And in that case, I think we might see lower levels like this and retest of the 14. That could be the name of the game when it comes to the first possible price action to the downside. The second price action to the downside possible, if we are going to go through this swing high, right, we have some kind of the double top, but taking into the consideration from where we were falling down, okay, over here, and taking 50% of that whole attempt to rally, we have level around 31. And to be honest with you, if the market is going to decide to go higher, hitting these stops, something similar to what we've seen on the gold second ago, then we might retest that level, and the price action around this level might dictate next move to the downside eventually, if there are going to be any kind of the hesitation. On the other hand, if you are a buyer, right, then what you are looking for is eventually, if this swing high over here is going to hold for now, especially taking into the consideration price action we've seen in May, right? So we might see some kind of the equal waves trying to take out the stops, trying to retest that consolidation we discussed a second ago, and trying to make this scenario with the stop count to the upside. So in that case, from the monthly chart perspective, if we are going to fail below 19 and we are going to see the rally, that might be your setup to go long, medium long term. So let's have a look what we have when it comes to the weekly chart. Okay, so that's the weekly chart, and as you can see, lately market few times was trying to move and break below 20 each and every time, followed by attempt to rally. Finally, we've seen the rally with the strong sell-off. We just retest the important 50% of that consolidation and strong rally making new high. What next in that case, right? Well, from that perspective, I would say if we are going to see the rally, and the easiest way to check it is to make the equal waves, two equal waves. So if we are creating some kind of the attempt to rally from here, all right, based on this possible level of the demand over here, okay, 1, 2, 3, then there was a supply, then was another level of the demand, and here we go again. So if we are going to make the rally from here based on this weekly chart, so how high can we go? Well, there you go. We might try to hit the stops we discussed based on the monthly chart, right? So we might see the rally towards 30-31 from here. But if we are going to fail at current level, right, then retest of the 20 is the name of the game. So to be honest with you, from the weekly chart perspective, we are in the middle of the nowhere. I would call it no man's land, right? Because we are around, let's say, 25. So it's equal $5 to the upside, equal $5 to the downside. So maybe as of now, from the medium term perspective, it's better to stay away and watch what the market is going to do. So let's switch to the daily. Let's have a look at what might be the short-term strategy. All right, so that's the daily chart, and I would watch very carefully. When it comes to the sellers, first thing first is this level of the rejection. Then we've seen the upside break, attempt to consolidate, but we've seen rejection, right? So this level of the rejection is the supply right now. So level in between 24.60, 25 is a first level of the possible supply. The second level of the possible supply is the mid of that consolidation. In that case, we are talking about the 25.50, all right? So two levels of supply, somewhere around 24.50 and somewhere around 25.50. That's where I do expect sellers to try to step in and push prices lower. When it comes to the downside, if that's going to materialize from here or from here, right, we might see attempt to get back towards 21.20, 2080 from the daily chart perspective. And why is that my level, right? Because everything we've seen before been already tested. So, for example, this type of the rally and the pullback been tested here, right? So this rally been tested here, etc., etc., etc. So in my opinion, as of now, this rally, the zone over here, 2120, 2080, is a level of the possible demand, and taking into the consideration the equal wave, I would rather say that we are going to retest that from this 50, 24, 70 because of equal wave. So looking to fade that one, and eventually short term looking to buy, but much lower. So that's how I see the silver. Guys, with that being said, I strongly encourage you to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please leave the comment below. Wish you a great trading session. See you around. Take care and goodbye.